Welcome back to the channel, where every whisper from the world of the Dallas Cowboys turns into a roar of insight, reaction, and reality checks. Today's story is a swirling storm of media takes, insider buzz, and undeniable pressure surrounding one of the most crucial coaching figures in Dallas offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer. When a national voice like Colin Cowherd puts his take on the table and a plugged-in analyst like Florio sounds the alarm about Schottenheimer's job security, you can't just scroll past it. You've got to dig in, pull back the layers, and understand what's truly going on in Dallas. So buckle up, because we're diving into why Brian Schottenheimer is suddenly under a white-hot spotlight, and what this could mean for Dak Prescott, McCarthy, and the entire Cowboys offense. It all started with a sharp but calculated commentary from Colin Cowherd, who didn't hold back during his latest episode of The Herd. Cowherd, who's known for balancing hot takes with nuanced analysis, took aim at what he sees as one of the Cowboys' greatest handicaps: their offensive scheme. He zeroed in on Brian Schottenheimer, questioning whether he's truly the kind of coordinator who can evolve this offense and keep pace with the explosive systems we're seeing in places like San Francisco, Kansas City, or even Detroit. Cowherd's main point was that while Schottenheimer brings experience, that experience often feels stale. In an NFL that's evolving at breakneck speed, Colin believes Schotty might be stuck in a playbook that's 3 seasons too old. Now that in itself would just be one media guy voicing concerns, but then came Florio. And when Florio speaks, people in the league listen. He went even further, saying sources close to the Cowboys are indicating that Brian Schottenheimer is already on the hot seat before the season has even begun. That's right, according to Florio. There's a sense inside the building that if the offense sputters out of the gate, Schotty won't make it past the mid-season mark. And if that doesn't grab your attention as a Cowboys fan, it absolutely should. Let's unpack what might be behind these growing concerns. Brian Schottenheimer stepped into the offensive coordinator role last season with mixed expectations. On one hand, he had the backing of McCarthy, who had taken over play-calling duties and wanted someone he trusted to help install and manage his version of the West Coast offense. On the other hand, Cowboys fans and analysts alike were unsure whether Schottenheimer had enough innovation left in his coaching DNA to elevate an offense that was already brimming with talent but lacked postseason punch. While the regular season results were statistically solid, the playoff failure against the Packers reignited every lingering doubt. And let's talk about that playoff game for a second, because that's where the fuse was lit. Dak Prescott looked out of sync. The offensive line got bullied, the play calling felt reactive instead of aggressive, and the Packers' defense, not exactly a top 5 unit, dictated terms the entire game. That's not just a quarterback issue. That's a systemic offensive failure, and when you're the coordinator, that lands squarely on your shoulders. Florio is hearing that this specific meltdown is what elevated Schottenheimer's status from secure to shaky. Cowboys ownership, particularly Jerry and Stephen Jones, were reportedly deeply disappointed in how little offensive adaptation occurred mid-game. That's a direct indictment of coaching flexibility or lack thereof. Now zoom out, and let's talk about how this pressure on Schottenheimer fits into the bigger Dallas Cowboys puzzle. We know McCarthy is already coaching for his job. That's not rumor, that's fact. And if McCarthy is feeling the heat, that naturally trickles down to his hand-picked staff. But Schottenheimer isn't just any assistant, he's the guy who's supposed to be shepherding Dak Prescott through the final stages of his development. He's the architect of the system that's meant to protect, empower, and unleash Tony Pollard last year, and now the new backs, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and whoever else is in the skill position core. If this offense looks stale, predictable, or just flat out ineffective, the front office isn't going to hesitate, they'll cut the cord. And here's the other layer Florio hinted at: Dallas has potential replacements already in-house or on their radar. That's where things get really interesting. There's been quiet buzz about quarterbacks coach Scott Tolzien being groomed for more responsibility, and some believe he could take over mid-season in a worst-case scenario. Additionally, names like Kellen Moore and even Cliff Kingsbury continue to float around the Cowboys' orbit. Moore, now with the Eagles, is still highly regarded by many in the building, despite his exit. Kingsbury, meanwhile, offers a more modern, spread-out approach that could be attractive if the offense sputters early. Colin Cowherd emphasized another important piece: the quarterback-coordinator relationship. He believes Dak Prescott has not had a truly innovative offensive mind since his early days with Moore. Schottenheimer, while respected for his professionalism and experience, hasn't shown the ability to adapt his scheme to Dak's evolving strengths. And in a make-or-break year for Prescott's contract situation, that's a dangerous gamble. If Schotty can't maximize Dak, he won't just lose his job, he'll be remembered as the coach who cost Dallas a championship window. Now let's dive into Schottenheimer's actual play-calling philosophy, and why it might be causing friction. His approach is rooted in ball control, efficient timing routes, and a heavy emphasis on run balance, something that worked in the early 2000s but now feels dated unless it's wrapped in modern disguise and tempo. Analysts are saying that too many of Dallas' plays look like they're operating in slow motion compared to the motion-heavy, misdirection-filled attacks of teams like the Dolphins and 49ers. In today's league, you have to trick defenses before the snap and beat them after. Cowboys fans have seen too many vanilla formations, too many predictable first downs, and too many third and longs. That's not all. Another factor driving scrutiny is the looming uncertainty around Dak's contract extension. The Cowboys have placed a significant bet on Schottenheimer being the guy to help Dak earn that next mega deal. If things go south, you can believe the finger pointing won't just stop at number 4, it'll go straight to the man designing the plays. Jerry Jones wants fireworks. He wants flash. He wants the Cowboys brand to be synonymous with cutting-edge offense, not clunky drives and blown opportunities. That's the environment Schottenheimer is walking into, and it's why the pressure is unlike anything he's ever faced. Let's not forget Schottenheimer's resume isn't exactly squeaky clean when it comes to maximizing quarterbacks. Yes, he's worked with some talented names: Mark Sanchez, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, but in many of those stops, the offenses plateaued or regressed. In New York, he was seen as a conservative mind who didn't let Sanchez evolve. In Seattle, he had success, but some blamed him for limiting Russ's freedom with a rigid structure. These patterns are part of why Cowherd and Florio are connecting the dots now. They see a repeat of past limitations happening in real time in Dallas. Inside the Star, there's reportedly a growing sentiment that Schottenheimer is a nice guy but may not be the right voice to ignite this offense. And in the NFL, being a good locker room guy only gets you so far. Winning and innovation matter most. If the Cowboys start the season 2-3 or lose early divisional games to the Eagles or Commanders, it might not take long before those whispers become decisions. One more element that's contributing to the hot seat narrative: the fans. Cowboys fans are among the most passionate and least patient in all of sports. They've endured too many "next year is our year" speeches. If the offense looks out of sync again, the boo birds at AT&T Stadium won't be shy, and neither will the front office. Pressure in Dallas isn't theoretical. It's very, very real. So what's the path forward for Brian Schottenheimer? It's simple but not easy. He needs to open up the playbook, embrace motion, get creative with CeeDee Lamb, integrate pre-snap shifts, get the tight ends involved early and often, and take calculated deep shots that keep defenses honest. He needs to coach with urgency and adaptability. And most importantly, he has to make Dak Prescott look like a top 5 quarterback in big games, not just against the Commanders in Week 4, but against real contenders in primetime. Because fair or not, that's the only standard the Cowboys are judged by now. Cowherd wrapped his segment by saying, if Dallas doesn't evolve this offense quickly, they'll waste another year of elite talent, and they'll have nobody to blame but their own coaching decisions. That's a sharp indictment of Schottenheimer's influence, but it's also the reality of life in the NFL. Results matter. Style matters. And for Brian Schottenheimer, the clock is ticking faster than ever. So as we sit here today, Cowboys Nation is staring down a pivotal season. Brian Schottenheimer has the tools. He has the platform. But does he have the vision? That's what we're all about to find out, and if the answer isn't a resounding yes, don't be surprised if this team looks very different by the time November rolls around. Make sure to hit that like button if you're ready for a high-octane Cowboys offense this year. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Schottenheimer get the full season to prove himself, or is it already make or break? And don't forget to subscribe, because we've got insider updates, film breakdowns, and breaking news headed your way all season long. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.